Your cat used to meet you at the door. They used to sleep beside you without hesitation. They used to seek you out in whatever room you were in and settle close without being invited. And somewhere along the way, quietly, without any single moment you could point to that changed, they flinch when you reach for them too fast. They leave the room when you enter it. They tolerate your touch instead of leaning into it. And you have told yourself it is just their personality. That cats are like this, unpredictable, independent, impossible to read. But here is what nobody told you. Trust in a cat is not lost in one dramatic moment. It is not a single mistake or a single bad day. It is lost, slowly, quietly, in small moments that feel completely harmless to you and land somewhere entirely different inside your cat. And the most painful part is this. Your cat never stopped trying to tell you. You just did not know what you were looking at. This video is going to change that. Stay until the end because the last point is the one most owners never see coming. Welcome to Feline Mind. If you love your cat and want to truly understand them, subscribe right now. Let's get into it. You pick them up without warning. It happens dozens of times a week, and almost no one thinks twice about it. You see your cat sitting somewhere and you want them closer. So you reach down, scoop them up, and hold them against your body. It feels like affection. To your cat, it feels like something very different. Cats are both predator and prey. That is not a metaphor. It is a biological reality that shapes every response their nervous system is capable of. An animal who evolved being hunted from above does not experience being grabbed from above as neutral. Their body registers it as threat before their brain has any chance to catch up. Every time you pick your cat up without warning, without letting them see you coming, without giving them any moment to choose, you are triggering a fear response in an animal who was already trying to decide whether you were safe. And the answer their nervous system arrives at in that moment is not the one you want. It does not matter that you have never hurt them. It does not matter that you put them down gently every single time. What matters is the loss of control. What matters is that they did not choose it. The fix is simple, but it requires patience. Approach slowly. Let them see your hand before it reaches them. Let them sniff you. And then read what their body tells you next. If they lean in, you have permission. If they pull back even slightly, you do not. A cat who is never grabbed without consent is a cat who stops bracing every time you walk toward them. And that change, that single shift in how they hold their body when you approach, tells you everything about what you just gave back to them. You punish them when they misbehave. Your cat scratched the sofa. They knocked something off the counter. They bit you during what you thought was a perfectly calm petting session. And you reacted. Maybe you raised your voice. Maybe you sprayed them with water. Maybe you tapped their nose or pushed them away firmly. You were frustrated. That is understandable. But here is what actually happened inside your cat in that moment. Cats do not process punishment the way humans intend it. Their brains are not wired to connect a consequence delivered after a behavior with the behavior itself. What they connect it to is you. Your raised voice, your sudden movement, the spray of water, the sharp sound. All of that lands as a threat signal, coming from the one creature they were in the process of deciding whether to trust. You did not teach them that scratching the sofa was wrong. You taught them that you are unpredictable. You taught them that being near you sometimes means something frightening happens without warning. And an animal who has learned that lesson will begin to manage their exposure to you, carefully, from a distance, with one eye always on the exit. Punishment does not build boundaries with a cat, it builds fear. And fear and trust cannot exist in the same nervous system at the same time. One always wins. You force interaction when they are telling you to stop. Your cat is in your lap, and everything feels peaceful. You are stroking them, and they are still. It seems like they could stay like this forever. And then something shifts. Their tail begins to move. Not a slow wag, but a low, deliberate, side-to-side sweep. Their skin twitches slightly along their back. Their ears rotate back just a fraction. And you keep petting them because they have not moved yet, and you assume that means they are still comfortable. And then they bite you, and you are shocked. But your cat is not. They gave you every signal available to them. The tail, the skin, the ears. They spoke as clearly as their language allows. And you did not hear them. This is one of the most common and most damaging patterns in the human-cat relationship, not because the bite hurts, but because of what happens afterward in your cat's internal record of you. Cats communicate overwhelm through a very specific sequence of signals before they ever reach the point of using their teeth. The tail movement comes first, then the skin twitch, then the ear rotation, then a stillness that is not relaxation but tension being held very carefully in place. If you learn to read that sequence and stop before the final signal, something changes between you. Your cat begins to understand that you are listening, that you can be trusted to hear them even when they are not making a sound. And a cat who believes they can communicate with you without ever having to use their teeth is a cat who will stay in your lap. They stay twice as long because they finally feel safe enough to. You wake them up because you cannot help it. They are sleeping in that perfect cold position that makes every instinct in your body want to reach out and touch them. So you do. You stroke them gently. You say their name softly. You just want a moment of connection. And your cat startles awake and looks at you with an expression that carries something in it you probably have not been reading correctly. Sleep is the single most vulnerable state any living creature can enter. When a cat sleeps, every defense comes down. Their awareness shuts off. Their ability to detect and respond to threats disappears completely. And the place where they choose to sleep, without being disturbed, is a fundamental expression of safety their nervous system knows how to seek. When you wake your cat because you want to pet them, you are interrupting the one state where they are completely without defense. And you are teaching them something they will not forget. There is no place in this home where I am truly safe to let go. Even in sleep, I have to be ready. That lesson compounds. A cat who cannot sleep deeply cannot recover fully. A cat who cannot recover accumulates stress in ways that show up as behavior problems, as distance, as a slow withdrawal from the closeness you are trying to create. Watch your cat sleep. Let that be enough, because a cat who chooses to sleep near you and is never disturbed there will choose to come closer over time, not because you called them, because you showed them you could be trusted with their most unguarded moments. You have never learned what their body is actually saying. This one is not a single behavior. It is something underneath all the others. And it is the reason so many owners who genuinely love their cat still end up slowly eroding what their cat felt for them. Cats speak entirely in body language. Their tail, their ears, their eyes, the way they hold their whiskers, the position of their body in space, all of it is communication. All of it is happening constantly. And most humans walk through that conversation every single day without reading a single word of it. A slow blink means I trust you. A tail held high with a curved tip means I am happy to see you. Ears forward means engaged and curious. Ears flattened means overwhelmed or afraid. A tail wrapped around their own body means they are self-soothing. Slow rhythmic kneading means they feel safe. When a cat turns their back to you and sits facing away, they are not ignoring you. They are showing you they feel secure enough to stop watching you. That is not rejection. That is one of the highest forms of trust a cat can offer. And if you did not know that, you may have spent years interpreting your cat's most trusting gesture as indifference. Learning to read your cat is not complicated, but it requires the decision to pay attention, to watch, to stop projecting human meaning onto feline signals, and start asking what your cat is actually trying to say. The moment you make that shift, everything changes. Not because your cat changed, because you finally started showing up to a conversation that has been waiting for you since the day they arrived. You stopped trying after they pulled away. This is the one that most owners never see, because by the time it happens, it feels like the cat's fault. It feels like a personality. It feels like just the way things are now. Your cat pulled back. Maybe gradually, maybe suddenly, they stopped seeking you out. They stopped responding the way they used to. And without realizing it, you stopped trying. You gave them space because they seemed to want it. You stopped initiating because it never seemed to go anywhere. You told yourself that your cat was just independent, just aloof, just not that kind of cat. But here is what was actually happening. Your cat pulled back because something in the pattern of your interactions had taught them that closeness carried a risk. And when you stopped trying, what they received was confirmation. Not relief, confirmation that the distance they had created was the right response. That retreating was the correct calculation. Rebuilding trust with a cat who is pulled away is one of the slowest and most humbling things a person can do. It requires sitting in the same room and doing nothing. It requires letting them come to you on their own timeline. It requires resisting every impulse to speed up a process that only moves at one speed. But here is what nobody tells you. The moment your cat takes one step back toward you, freely, it means everything. Without being called or coaxed, that step means more than every forced interaction that came before it, because it was chosen. And a cat who chooses you, after learning they did not have to, is telling you something deep. They are telling you that whatever was broken, they decided you were worth the risk of trying again. Do not take that lightly. It is the most important thing they will ever give you. Trust with a cat is not built in grand gestures. It is built in the decision, made again and again in small invisible moments, to pay attention, to listen, to let them lead, to be the kind of presence in their life that their nervous system eventually stops bracing against. You may have broken some of that trust without ever meaning to. Most people have, but the fact that you are here, trying to understand, already means something. It means the conversation is not over. If this video changed the way you see your cat, share it with someone who loves their cat and deserves to know this. Subscribe to Feline Mind. We are here every week, helping you become the person your cat already hoped you would be. They have not given up, and now, neither should you.